Most people are driven by ambition, the desire to do something that has never been done before. But I've always been driven by fear. Fear of failure, fear of being unworthy, fear of falling behind. And the crazy part is, it kind of worked. I toxic self-talked myself to some pretty awesome places in life. But the problem was, once I got there, I was too out of breath, exhausted and dehydrated to enjoy the view. You're looking the wrong way. I'm not supposed to be the painting. This is the painting, because it's so beautiful, so you have to stand right next to me. Look at this. It's beautiful. It's like we live inside a painting. A couple of weeks ago, I sat down to write what I thought would be the script to my final video on YouTube. And it's not because I don't love making videos, it's not because it got boring, it's not because I don't value the community that we gathered here. So why? Well, I got a full-time office job now, and knowing my perfectionist all or nothing default setting, I was pretty sure I will not be able to do this anymore. But as I sat down to write a script, it just did not feel right. I realized that this means so much to me and you mean so much to me, so today, instead of soppy goodbyes, I want to tell you why I started this channel in the first place, what happened in the last months, because a lot has happened, and what's the plan for Lost in Admiration moving forward. It's 2020. We all know what happens in 2020. A global pandemic breaks out. Most of us are stuck at home, many of us are struggling, and I spent most of that year going from one doctor's office to another one, getting all the medical tests you can get, but not because of COVID. You see, at the end of previous year, I started having these bizarre symptoms that made my life pretty unbearable at some point, and nobody knew what it was. Doctors said, maybe it's damaged nerve, maybe it's multiple sclerosis, maybe it's some tropical disease that nobody knows. Eventually, it turned out to be chronic Lyme, and I have to say it made life pretty tough at times. But it wasn't the first time that I struggled with my mental health. I feel that I have this typical Eastern European trauma package. Not pro package, thank goodness, but still. And 2020, 2021, that was not the best time for me. It was around that time that I decided to start making videos, and I wanted to make them to help me process things, to learn things and to share them. But if I'm being honest, I think the main reason was to distract myself from having negative thoughts. But then it quickly turned out that speaking to a camera is much harder than it looks, and I felt so unprepared to talk about personal topics or important topics. So I started making silly little travel vlogs, most of which I enlisted by now, because they are way too embarrassing for me to look at. Anyway, so beautiful around here. Let me show you around. So many dogs! So many! But I kept on making videos, and eventually I got a little bit less awkward. I mean, I'm still horribly awkward, but now I embrace it. And eventually I started transitioning into topics that I actually wanted to talk about. But also around the time, I got a new job, yet more intense, yet more demanding, and that job got me as far from who I was and who I wanted to be as you could possibly be. And it was a bit of a downward spiral from there. And eventually I quit out of pure desperation and decided to focus on YouTube, which was the only thing that kept me going in that time. And there was really no plan. I didn't know where it will lead me, but I felt like I really had no choice but to trust that it will lead me somewhere. And to be honest, I did not think I had it in me to make videos that would appeal to many people. I kind of hoped that making videos, I will be able to build skills that would then allow me to get a job that's more aligned with what I'm interested in, even though that kind of seemed like a stretch as well. But somehow the videos did better than expected, and you found this channel, and trust me when I say that every message, every comment that you've written here really meant the world to me, and because of that, this channel stopped being just a little side project or a distraction from the bad thoughts that I was having. It became something that got me through some of the hardest days in my life. It felt like a moral victory for sure. I was doing something I loved and people seemed to like it. But again, to be fully honest, I did not earn enough money to sustain myself in London, not even close. So I had to dip into my savings. And Carol was the main investor, the only investor into Lost in Admiration. He really believes in this project, I have to say.
Big fan.
Big fan. But yeah, it had to be realistic and pragmatic long term. And I was reflecting about this, how to make it work. And I realized that this channel means so much to me, this community means so much to me that I don't want it to be money driven. I don't want the primary reason behind everything that I do to be commercial. So that was one of the many reasons why I decided to look for a job. And again, being very pragmatic, I wasn't looking for something that would check all the boxes, probably not even half of the boxes. I wanted like a box or two. But I got very lucky, and I think I got something that comes as close to a dream job as it could. So that brings me to the second part. I quit my sales job because I was really unfulfilled, depressed, burned out, and making videos was my escape, my healing process, my way of trying to understand myself better and sharing that with the world. But also with time, making videos became this safety cocoon that I created for myself, and I felt like my choice is between this corporate Daria that's very driven and very ambitious and very devoted to her job, and she does very little outside of it, and between the self-care focused Lost in Admiration Daria, who's very creative and dreamy and follows her passions even when they don't pay her bills. I realized that ever since I was a kid, I had to choose between these two Darias. I felt that I had to choose between these two Darias. You're either a starving artist or you suck it up, get a real job, and you're a responsible adult. That's the reality of life as my parents lived it, and I felt it deep in my bones. You can't have it all. But then, slowly, I started questioning the premise of that choice. I mean, what if I could choose between totally different options? And I don't mean choosing between pastries, although that's a nice choice to have to make in life. As I was living my ideal self-unemployed creator life.
Self-unemployed?
Yeah, because I was kind of employed, but not really making much money, so self-unemployed. I realized that I'm missing the ambitious, driven Daria. I realized that I enjoy learning from others and I enjoy growing in a direction that feels meaningful without sacrificing my integrity or my sanity. And for the first time in my life, I found the courage to ask for such opportunities, to do something interesting and to be well compensated for it. And somehow, in this age of layoffs and job market uncertainty, I got a job. And much as no job is ever perfect, I have to say this one comes pretty close for me. So we've established one thing in this video. I started Lost in Admiration when I was a little sad. Carol keeps joking it shouldn't be called Lost in Admiration, it should be called Lost in Desperation, because apparently I'm this dramatic, anxious little hobbit. But despite maybe slightly sad origins of this project, it brought me so much joy. I'm so grateful for you. You've been so kind to me, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share with you everything that the human experience entails, both the good and the bad. And if at any point in your life you're feeling a little bit lost, sad, or lonely, please don't give up. Work through it, because working through difficult things can get you to some pretty incredible places, as my story proves, I think. If I can do it, so can you. So moving forward, I want to keep making videos as often as I can, to the best of my ability, together with Carol.
Let's go.
The glass is
Dirty.
a little bit dirty. No one noticed. No one noticed.
Nice elephants, though.
But since you are the main reason why I want to keep doing this, I would love for you to tell me what kind of videos you want to see. It only makes sense if it makes sense to you. So should we continue the unlearning series that in a typical ADHD fashion I started and never finished? Should we do other videos altogether? Should we do vlogs? Really, you tell me. I feel like we have this opportunity to do something that benefits us both, that we enjoy. It doesn't have to be big, could be a little bit of a community project. And I guess thank you for being part of Lost in Admiration. Thank you for being patient with me, and thank you for sticking around.